Hi guys, how are you doing today? Welcome back to Random Lifestyle Vlog. Today we have a fragrance video and we're going to be talking about the newest Kayali Oudgasm fragrances. I have all four of them. As you can see, they're all in 10 mils size. I mean, I love the fact that we can buy them in a smaller size. Particularly considering the fact that Mona has been releasing her fragrances like left, right and center this year. I mean, I'm not complaining, I really like them. But she literally released 4 new fragrances in one go. So if you want to have them all, I think it's a little bit easier to justify that if you can buy 10 mils of each. The first fragrance I'm going to talk about is this one here. This is Rose Oud. By the way, all of these fragrances are in Eau de Parfum intense concentration. That means they're a little bit stronger than your regular Eau de Parfum. So this fragrance here is probably the most predictable out of them all. When I first saw the name of this fragrance, I kind of had this idea of how this fragrance is going to smell. So the notes here are lemon, geranium, Bulgarian rose, vanilla Madagascar, cashmere, wood and oud. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a really lovely fragrance, but I feel like this is not extremely innovative. We've all smelled that fragrance or similar fragrance somewhere. I think it's probably quite difficult to create a rose oudy fragrance that's going to be completely unique. I mean, both of these notes are very distinctive, so you know the fragrance is going to smell a certain way. One thing I need to mention is that this particular fragrance leans very feminine to me. That oud note is not particularly prominent, so it's not overpowering. It's not something that sometimes might smell a bit masculine on some people. So if you find strong oud notes problematic, maybe this fragrance is going to be perfect for you. Who knows? So obviously we can't really talk about Kayali fragrances without talking about layering. That's even suggested here on the box. So the perfect pairs are this fragrance with vanilla oud and tobacco oud. I'm not going to talk about that much because honestly all these oud fragrances, they go so nice together. You can just mix and match them, you can create new fragrances and then just make perfect sense. Let's focus on the other two pairs that were mentioned here. So you can mix it with white flower and pink pepper. So I actually have these two fragrances over here. So the first combo I tried was the Sweet Diamond Pink Pepper, which is this one, and do you know what? It's a really lovely combo. If you use these two fragrances together, the fragrance is going to be even more feminine. It kind of, I guess, this extra almost creaminess to this fragrance. It's definitely a very nice combo. Then we have Deja Vu White Flowers, and this fragrance in general, this is not my favorite scent. It's very vintage. It's very kind of sharp white floral fragrance, and I don't use it by itself, but it works really well with some layering combos. And in this case I wasn't really sure, and I used these two fragrances together, and at first sniff I didn't like it. I was like, this is too strong on those white flowers, so no. But then a couple of minutes in, when this fragrance, this combo settled in, this actually became a really nice pairing. So the thing with white flower fragrance is that it always adds this sophistication to whatever you use it with. And I think these two fragrances together create this unique and very sophisticated, elegant scent. So I definitely recommend trying this. Just take a moment before you judge, because honestly it took me 5 to 10 minutes before I was able to fully appreciate this combo. Next up, we have Tobacco Oud. So here's the thing, I find the Rose Oud leaning very feminine. This one leans probably the most masculine out of the whole series of fragrances here. So the main notes of Tobacco Oud are mandarin, white honey, geranium, vanilla, tobacco and oud. So this is what it looks like, and I mean, this smells expensive. This smells expensive. I really like how nicely blended it is. It also has the most prominent oud note. I think it's probably because it's backed up by this tobacco note. So it's a very warm, spicy fragrance. That honey and vanilla combo adds a little bit of sweetness and creaminess to this scent, but it does lean slightly masculine. I love it though. I think this is a really nice fragrance. So the suggested combos here are vanilla and white flower. I mean, white flower is going to feature quite a lot in those combos. So here's the vanilla fragrance, and this is the most indulgent, yummy vanilla, so obviously it works perfectly with this tobacco oud scent. So you end up with this indulgent, creamy vanilla, but grounded by those heavy oudy tobacco notes. So that is a perfect pairing. But what about white flowers? This was a really interesting experience, I have to say. So the white flower fragrance, I mean, it is feminine. It's an old school vintage fragrance with sharp floral notes, but still quite feminine. But these two fragrances together, I would say, because of that added sharpness, I think this combo actually makes this fragrance even more masculine, I would say. Like, it literally neutralizes the whole warmth and sweetness that comes with that honey and vanilla notes. And what we've got here is this tobacco oud with those sharp florals. A very interesting combo. Smells very expensive. Smells like money, but it does lean slightly masculine in my opinion. I still think I'm going to use that combo a lot. So next up we have Caf Oud, and well, I have to tell you, I started with the fragrance that was the least surprising for me, and here's where things started to get unpredictable. Let me just read you the notes. So we have cappuccino, geranium, rose damascena, white musk, vanilla oud. In my head, it was like coffee, sweet coffee. Then we have like some florals, some other sweet notes. That is going to smell exactly like black opium or like a version of black opium. That's what I had in my head. And let me tell you, that's not what you get from this fragrance at all. First of all, it's not as sweet as I expected this to be, which is good. I mean, I have like a couple of flankers of black opium and I actually really like them, but I don't need another fragrance like that. I mean, this fragrance is quite musky, so we have those like woodsy notes, but the musk here is very noticeable. That coffee doesn't really smell as sweet. I wouldn't say it gives me like a proper cappuccino. I get more like black coffee here. But yeah, I actually really like it. I don't think I have anything that smells even remotely similar to that in my collection. I think it's a very sophisticated fragrance and it does smell expensive. I don't find it particularly sexy, but that is actually fine. You can always like obviously layer this with something else that's going to add that sexiness, like, you know, for example, vanilla. So let's have a look at the combo notes. Obviously, vanilla is one of the suggested combos for this fragrance, like no surprise here. The other one will be pink pepper. To be honest, I don't think I would pair these two fragrances together if it hadn't been suggested, but you know what, they actually go surprisingly well together. The interesting thing is that these two fragrances together create like a completely different scent, almost like, so they kind of blend together so nicely that we end up with something that's like a little bit different. The only thing is that I really like this fragrance so much by itself that I don't think I will be layering it that much. I think the first two fragrances I showed you, the tobacco oud and the rose oud, I'll be like layering these quite a lot, but this is probably one of those fragrances I would want to keep as it is, because to be honest, it smells the most unique for me in this form. So we're down to the last fragrance, and this is vanilla oud, and this was honestly, guys, the biggest surprise for me, because again, vanilla oud is like a little bit like rose oud. I kind of thought I expected something, and as much as with the rose one, I got literally what I expected. Here I did not expect that. So the notes here are vanilla sugar, praline, saffron, white musk, oak moss, and oud. And this fragrance is just stunning. Well, first of all, this is quite a musky fragrance. So it's woodsy, it's musky, and there's vanilla. Those like sweet gourmand notes, they're not particularly dominant here. I mean, you can detect them easily, but they are kind of like balancing the whole composition rather than like being in the front. So this vanilla oud pairing combined with this clean, kind of like a dry musk note. This is such an interesting combo. I do really like this fragrance. I literally just cannot stop smelling this fragrance, and it smells so good on my skin as well. The oud note here is beautiful, is detectable, but it's not overpowering, and that makes this fragrance actually quite unique, but also very kind of like Moorish. I just cannot stop smelling it. It is so interesting. It is just so stunning. So it is suggested to mix it with a white flower or a juicy apple. We talked about white flowers before, and like nothing new here, obviously this pairing smells very sophisticated, very elegant. We haven't mentioned juicy apple yet. This pairing surprised me. I mean, again, that's not something I would think of even. These two fragrances together smell surprisingly good, and this is one of those combos that literally creates a new fragrance. Like, it doesn't really smell like any of these fragrances in the end. It just smells like something completely new. It does smell nice, but I'm pretty sure I'm not going to layer this with anything because, again, it's very similar to the Caf Oud. I really like these fragrances as they are. I think they're very unique by themselves, and sometimes like mixing them with like other fragrances just takes away a little bit of that uniqueness. Sometimes less is more, I think. So we have all 4 fragrances here. The lasting power is actually really good on them. Usually when we have oud-based fragrances, they will last quite a long time because that's like a very durable note. So obviously these last quite well, which is to be expected, judging by the concentration. They also have quite a good sillage, so maybe not necessarily like super office friendly, friendly, but if you want to make an impression, then you know these are going to be good. And just to sum this up, I think this is a really nice collection. These two fragrances here, Caf Oud and Vanilla Oud, these are my two favorites. They are perfectly unisex, even though you would expect maybe vanilla to be more feminine. It's not really. They are like really unisex, beautiful fragrances. I really love that they both have this kind of like a musky note. As far as the tobacco and rose one goes, I think rose leans slightly more feminine, tobacco leans slightly more masculine, but generally I would still describe them as unisex scents. I think out of these four fragrances, the Rose Oud is the least unique. I mean, it's been done quite a few times already, so if you're looking for some novelty, I guess any other of these scents will be better than the Rose one. It's a pretty fragrance though. I think this is a brilliant collection. I love the fact that I could get them in those like mini bottles. That's going to be like a perfect size for me, perfect size to like mix and match. And I would definitely recommend testing this, especially the vanilla and cafe one. Okay guys, so this is everything from me. Have you tried any of these fragrances? If so, let me know in the comment section down below what you think about them. Thank you very much for watching. For more fragrance related content, check those videos over here. I'm going to see you very soon. Take care. Bye.